So just starting off, you kind of touched on it, more numbers, returners back. It just kind of seems like depth and experience overall is increased for you guys this year. And that makes it easier to kind of add onto that win total, right? Like, how's the feel with just sort of everyone in camp here, the experience back and all of that?
We really had a really good summer. We had really good attendance. Like you mentioned, our roster numbers have grown. We've got 12 more guys than we had last year on the team. We got a lot more Friday night experience. We got a lot of guys returning, at least 8 on both sides of the ball, which is really nice, especially up front, bringing back a lot of linemen, and those guys have grown. We're averaging 230 pounds across the front of the line, which last year was more like 200 to 205, so we've definitely gotten bigger and got a lot of really good experience returning.
And then, the guy behind the line, it's obviously, it all is going to start up front, but having a quarterback back, and I guess this is kind of just putting it together here. You have a quarterback back that you know well. His offensive coordinator is his baseball coach. He also plays baseball. So I feel like that's a whole bunch of familiarity out there. Is that kind of like an extension of your staff on the field at this point?
Absolutely. Carson, he's put a lot of work into football this year. He hasn't had as much of an opportunity with the baseball things in the summer and, meeting with me after class every day in the spring and having our spring practices and really being able to be around this summer. His baseball schedule kind of allowed him to be around a lot more, and you can see it on the field. When we get up and we go live, he looks really sharp. At the end of the year last year, I thought he took a lot of steps forward, and having a senior quarterback and a guy who understands what's going on and is confident in his reads and things like that it's a game changer for sure.
I know you guys kind of stick a lot, especially at the end of the year, that RPO, having an athlete like back there. Is that kind of something you feel like is going to take that next step for the offense as well this year?
Yeah, and again, you could see it at the end of the year. He had some big games throwing the ball, and that was RPO stuff. He does a really good job reading the middle of the field and the edges, and allows us to be multiple without having to call a bunch of extra things, which is really nice as an offensive play caller. And just having a command and a confidence in your reads and knowing where guys are going to be really helps him. When we're trying to run those RPOs.
And then on the defensive side of things, what's that looking like? Any guys standing out, or what have you liked so far?
We're bringing back a lot of starters on defense. Obviously, inside we lost 2 really good linebackers, senior linebackers combined for 300 tackles last year, which is a big hole, but we feel like we've got a couple guys stepping in there. Aiden Cobb and Caleb Bull is a sophomore. Those guys are really good football players and going to be really good football players around here. But senior-wise, Hayden Swanigan, Dakota Gritz are all multi-year starters on the defensive front, or in the secondary, and up front. We have a completely different defensive line than we have offensive line, so we're sending fresh guys out there, and that's really exciting.
And then, with all that experience, and then your experience as well, just being in the area, being in other states, just kind of what it takes to succeed at this level, how well do you think this team's prepared to kind of take that jump?
Yeah, I feel like we're significantly more competitive. Our guys are hungry. They really want to win. They're doing things right. They're doing the little things right. When we look for senior quotes, those guys to a man are sending back things like, this is the most close team we've had that I remember, being able to do things together outside of football. Those guys really have taken to heart being leaders and really kind of bringing along the younger guys and taking them under their wing. And that shows a mature team that's ready to maybe take a step. And obviously our conference is super competitive in the Ozark Mountain, and Class 4 I think is really tough around here, this district. We've had a lot of really good teams in our district here recently, so we feel like we're ready to start competing with everybody and taking another step as we continue to get better and better.
And then when we just talk about Blue Jay football as a whole, is there anything that we're missing that we haven't talked about, something you'd like to kind of focus on that maybe we haven't touched on or you didn't touch on in the other preview you did?
Yeah, I just think we've got this is a hidden gem place. I think we've got great school, we've got great administration, we've got fantastic kids, and we got kids that really are hungry to do things right and give themselves opportunity to win games. It's a lot of fun. It's a really nice group to be around, and it's very easy to come to practice every day for sure.
And you guys start the year Thursday, right, against Parkview? That's another team that's kind of on the rise. Is that really kind of a great measuring stick starting out the year against a team that, has some athletes over there and is going to kind of try and take a step in their class as well?
Yeah, Coach Bruffett is doing an awesome job over there. Cam actually played for me years and years ago, which is making me really old around here. But they're super athletic, and that's something that we're working on every day, is trying to be able to contain. Obviously, their running back is a really good player, highly touted recruit, and that's a guy we got to focus on. But their quarterback's back; he's a really good player, and they've got some receivers that I think are top-notch athletes in the area. And those are things that our kids are taking as a challenge, being able to go in there and compete against really good athletes.
Are you and Cam texting pregame, or are you guys waiting for the handshakes after? What's that like?
You know, Cam and I, we have a really good relationship, and it's fun to get to talk to him. Got to see him this summer with the Lunkers, and, you know, it's always good to see him and kind of remember the days where he was a really good player for us and a super tough dude, and watching him be able to coach his kids and get them ready and have his program taking steps. It's a lot of fun to see him. You know, we're hyper competitive when we get there. We both are, but it's nice, and there's a lot of coaches in the area like this where you get to go after the game and before the game and, you know, get to just, you know, fellowship with some really good guys who share a passion for kids and football.